All right, so let's go ahead and go over your review for your test. It's only on triangles. That's why it says triangles mixed practice. So here it says here, classify each triangle by the measures of the angles. So in order for us to classify this triangle, we need to find all of the angles. So we know that this angle is 35, this one's 60. So if we do 180 minus the 35, plus the 60, sorry, I'm getting into the other problem. That is going to give us 85. So that means this angle in here is 85. And then from there, we can find this opposite angle over here because those two angles should add up to 180, the 85 plus whatever that angle is, because they make a straight angle. So that means this angle right here is a 95. And then last, now we can find W. We know this angle is 25. We know the 95. So the other angle in W, we're going to do 180 minus the 95 plus the 25. So 95 plus 25 gives us 120 minus the 180 would give us 60. So angle W is 60. All right, so now we're ready to classify. So it tells us here triangle X, Y, Z. So X, Y, Z. X, Y, Z is this one right here. 35, 60, and 85 are all less than 90 degrees. So that is going to be an acute triangle. And then from there, the next one we have here is X, Y, W. So X, Y, W is the entire triangle here, the whole thing. So on that one, your Y angle is 60. Your X angle is 25 and 35. And together that gives us, I believe, 5, that's 40, 50, 60. And so that's still less than 90 degrees. And then this top angle at the very top is also 60 degrees. So since they are all 60 degrees, this is equiangular. Equiangular. All right. And then last is triangle XZW, which is this one inside here. And so the XZW, one's 25, one's 95, and one's 60. So because one of them is more than 90, the 95 degrees is more than 90 degrees, this is obtuse triangle. All right, the next one asks us to classify each triangle by the length of its sides. So the first one asks us triangle DEG. So if we're looking at triangle DEG, it is talking about this triangle here, DEG. So one side is 10, one side is 8, and the other side is 2. All of them are different, so that means this is a scalene triangle. And we have triangle FGE. So FGE, they have these two little tally marks here. That means both of them are the same. If this side is 8, that means this side is 8 also. And then this side over here, they do put these little tally marks here. If that's the same as this one, then that means that both of them are 10. Okay. So since two of the sides are the same, that means that FGE is an isosceles triangle. Then we have triangle DEF. DEF is the whole thing. So from D to E to F, this whole thing. So they tell us this side is 10, this side is 10, and then this whole thing put together, 8 plus 2 also gives us 10. So this is an equilateral triangle. All right, the next one, it says the triangle below can be classified as, so they tell us with these little lines here that all of these are different. One has 1 tick mark, the other one has 2, and then this one has 3. So that means it is a scalene triangle, so I can cancel out C and A. And then if we see this angle right here is 95 degrees, that is more than 90 degrees. So that makes it an obtuse scalene triangle. All right, this next one, this is an isosceles triangle because both these angles or both these sides are the same. So it's going to be an isosceles, so we can cancel out B and D. And in order for us to tell whether it's a right triangle or an acute triangle is to find this third angle right here. And that's going to tell us what kind of triangle it is. So if we do 180 minus the 45 plus 45, that is going to give us plus 45. Sorry, I'm running out of space. Oh, shoot. Oh, well, I'll just put it like that. And that's going to give us 90 degrees. So that's going to make it a right. All right, 5. So it says find the measure of angle 1. So here they tell us this angle is 40 degrees and they tell us these two angles are the same. So I am going to take 180. I'm going to subtract the 40 and that gives me 140. So then I divide it by 2 and that means angle 1. And this angle directly across from it is also 70 because of these two sides being the same. So measure of angle 1 equals 70. Right, this next one wants us to find the measure of angle 1. So based off of what they give us, this is 60, this is 90. So I can find this third angle by doing 180 minus the 60 plus the 90. So 60 plus 90 gives us 150, and then we subtract that from the 180, and that gives me 30. Okay, so if that angle is 30, then that means this angle directly across from it is also 30. So then now they tell us this angle here is 65, and I know these three angles should add up to 180. So I'm going to do 180, move up, 180, minus the 30 plus the 65, which gives me 95. So then that means that this angle, which is angle 1, has to be 85, if I'm not mistaken, degrees. +85 plus 65. All right, number 7. So it tells us here the triangle is an equilateral triangle. What is the value of n? So because it's an equilateral triangle, that means all the sides are the same, which also means that all the angles are equal. So we know the 3 angles in a triangle add up to 180. We divide it by 3 because all of them are equal, and that's going to give me 60. And then we take the 4n minus 12 and set it equal to 60. So I'm going to do 12 plus 12, and I get 4n equals 60 plus 12 is 72. Our last step is to divide by 4. So 72 divided by 4 gives us 18. That means n is equal to 18, and we make sure we're answering the question. So we solved for n. They're asking us what is the value of n, so we are done there. All right, number 8. It says find each measure. So based off of the information that they give us, they tell us this is 70 and this is 55, and we know that 3 angles of a triangle should add up to 180. So we're going to do 180 minus whatever the 70 plus the 55 is. We plug all that in our calculators, and that gives us 55. Yes. So that means this angle is 55. So then to find angle 1, because 55 and angle 1 make a straight line together, that means that they add up to 180. So then that means 125 plus 55 would give us 180. So angle 1 is 125. Okay, so I keep going on. If this is 55, then that means angle 2 is also 55 because they both make, or they're both vertical angles. So angle 2 is 55. And then next we have angle 3 is what we're looking for. So based off of this, I have this is 150, and it makes a straight angle with this one. So that means 30 plus 150 would give us 180. So that angle in there is 30. So now we can find angle 3 by doing 180 minus the 55 plus the 30, which gives us 85. And 180 minus 85 is 95. So 95 degrees. All right, the next one says find each measure. So they give us the three angles of a triangle in terms of x, and we know that the three angles should all add up to 180. So I'm going to add them real quick. X plus x plus x, that gives us 3x's. And then here we have 21 plus 23 plus 61. 21 plus 61. All of those give us 105. And all of this should equal 180. So we're going to solve for x by subtracting the 105. And then we go ahead, this cancels, and we get 3x equals 180 minus 105 is 75. We divide by 3, and we get x equals 25. Okay. So then we plug it in. 25 for angle F. 25 plus 21 gives us 46. And then the next one, 25 plus 23 gives us 48. 48. And then the last one, 25 plus 61, is going to give us 86 degrees. If we did it all correctly, all three of those should add up to 180. All right, number 10. In triangle ADS, the measure of angle A is equal to x minus 23. The measure of angle D is x minus 12, and the measure of angle S is 2x minus 5. Find the measure of each angle. So the same concept, they give us all three angles of a triangle, and we can find each angle measure by adding them up. So I'm going to add them up first before I write it all out. So I have x plus 2x. Together that gives us 4x. Then I have negative 23, negative 12, and negative 5. And altogether, that gives us, let's see, 23 plus 12 plus 5 is negative 40. And those should equal 180. So we're going to solve for x. We add the 40. 180 plus 40 gives us 220. So 4x equals 220. We divide by 4. And we get, let's see, 220 divided by 4 gives us 55. So x is 55. So now from there, I'm going to go ahead and erase this so I can see it. We're going to go ahead and plug in 55 for each one. So for angle A, 55 minus 23 is going to give us 32. For measure of angle D, we're going to do 55 because we said x was 55 minus 12 is going to give us 43. And then last is 2 times x minus 5. So 2 times 55 minus 5. So 2 times 55 is 110 minus 5 is 105. All right, so number 11 wants us to find the measure of angle W, and then they give us these two angles, and then this angle here is outside of the triangle. So this is what we're going to do. I don't know if you guys remember when I took the corners of the triangles and I cut them out. And then when we took these two angles, they fit perfectly into here. So that means that 2x plus 3x minus 24 should equal this 4x plus 11. And then we start solving for x. So 2x and 3x together is 5x minus 24 equals 4x plus 11. And then we're going to move the 4x to the other side first. Minus 4x minus 4x. This gives us x minus 24 equals 11. This cancels. We are going to move the 24 to the other side by adding 24. And we get x equals 35. Okay, but we're not done yet because they're not asking us for x, they're asking us for w. So we're going to do 3 times 35 minus 24. 3 times 35 minus 24, and I believe that gives us 81. All right, number 12 wants to find the value of x. So we start off with what they give us. So this is 122. We know 122 plus whatever this angle inside the triangle is has to add up to 180 because they make a straight angle together. So we're going to do 180 minus the 122 equals 58. And then the next one, here we have 139. So to find the measure of this angle inside the triangle, we're going to do 180 minus 139. And that gives us 41. Okay. So now we know the three angles of this triangle. We can find this angle right here. Well, we know two, so we can find the third. So we're going to do 180 minus the 58 plus the 41. So let's see, 180. And that gives us 81. So we're almost done because to find x, it is a straight angle with this 81. So we do 180 minus 81, and that gives us 90 degrees. All right, the next one says, which statement is always true? So this is the one that I was telling you where these two angles have to add up to this outside angle. So A plus B will always equal D. All right. The next one, it says, in the following figure, find the value of x. And they tell us that AB is parallel to CD. So if these two lines are parallel, AB and CD, and it is cut by this transversal here. Oh, crap. Oh. Then if that angle is 43, then this angle is also 43. Okay. I'm just going to solve for all the angles. I know you don't need them, but just in case you do have a problem like this on your test, you know how to find all of them. So to find this other angle on the other side, we do 180 minus 43, and that gives us 137. Okay. On this side, you have 72, so that means this one is also 72, and this angle in here is 180 minus the 72, which is 108. But what we really need is this angle here with the x. So this is a triangle here. So these three angles should add up to 180. So we do 180 minus the 72 plus the 43 in parentheses. So 180 minus the 72 minus the 43 gives us 65. So x is equal to 65 degrees. Okay, there will be a problem like this on your test. For sure, for sure. So it says here, in the following figure, AB is parallel to CD. Find the measures of the following angles. So we're going to go ahead and solve the whole triangle first. So here you have these two sides that are parallel. So if we look at this first one, just cut by this transversal. So if this angle is 69, then this angle up here is also 69. If this angle is 128, then to find this angle here on the top, we do 180 minus the 128, and that gives us 52. So if that's 52, then this one is also 52. And then if this is a 90-degree angle, 90 plus 90 gives us 180. And since these two lines are parallel, this is also going to be 90, this is going to be 90, this is going to be 90, and this one's going to be 90. So then last, we need to find these angles up here. So this one and this one. So if you notice, this angle here makes a triangle. So 90 plus this number plus the 52 should all equal 180. So this is going to be 38. 28. Is it 28? Let me see. Yeah, 38. 38. And then this next one on this side, we do 90, 180 minus the 90 plus the 69. And that gives us 11. Is that right? 90 minus 69. 21, sorry, not 11. 21 degrees. So now we're ready to answer the questions. The first one is asking for E, A, So EAB is talking about this angle right here, which is a 52. And then the next one is CEF. So from C to E to F is talking about this angle in here, which is a 38. Then the next one is EBA. I cannot see anything with these lines in the way. Okay, EBA is talking about this angle right here, which we said was 69. And then last is DEF. So DEF is talking about this angle that I have here in yellow, which is 21 degrees. All right, the next one. I want you to find the value of x. So they do tell us that these two sides are the same. So that means these two angles are both 65. So we're going to go ahead and do 180 minus the 65 plus the 65. And that gives us 50. So this angle is 50. And if that angle is 50, then this angle is 50. And since these two sides are the same, if both of them are 50 and 50, and then to find angle x, we take 180 and we subtract 50 plus 50. And 50 plus 50 is 100, and then you subtract that from 180, and that gives us 80 degrees. All right, number 17 wants us to write the sides of ABC in order from shortest to longest. So before we do, we have to find angle C. So we do 180 minus the 90 minus the 39, and that is going to give us 41. I hope, or 51. 39 plus 49. 39 plus 41. No, it's going to be 51. Sorry. 51. So we're going to go from smallest to biggest. So the smallest is angle B. So directly across angle B is CA. And then we have the next one is going to be the 51. So across the 51 is going to be BA. Remember, if you put BA or AB, it doesn't matter. It means the exact same thing right now. And then the last one, if this one is 90 degrees, then directly across the 90 degrees is BC. Or if you put CB, that's okay too. CB. All right. Next one, write the angles of QRS in order from smallest to biggest. So we look at the smallest side. The smallest side is the 41.7. So across from it is angle S. And the middle number is going to be 58.9. So directly across from it is angle Q. And then the last one, 62.4, is the biggest side. So directly across from it is angle R. All right, the next one says the distance between New York City and Boston is 187 miles, and the distance between New York City and Hartford is 97 miles. Hartford, Boston, New York City form a triangle on a map. What is the range of distances between Boston and Hartford? So I'm going to make my triangle. This is New York City. This is Hartford. And this is Boston. And then we use information that they give us. They say between New York City and Boston. So New York City and Boston is 187 miles. Oh, I don't know why it's not writing. 187 miles. And then the next one is the distance between New York City and Hartford is 97 miles. So between here and here is 97. So now they want us to find what are the possible distances for Hartford and Boston. So remember, this cannot be too long or too small because then it wouldn't be able to make a triangle. So if we do 187 minus the 97, that is going to give us the smallest that it can be. So 187 minus 97 gives us 90. Okay, so the smallest that it can be is 90. You put the less than, x, less than, and then the biggest that it can be is 187 plus the 97, which gives us 284. And then I'm going to put MI for miles. So I should have put it on this side also. All right, the next one, the distance from Tyler's house to the library is 3 miles. The distance from his home to the park is 12 miles. If the three locations form a triangle, what is the range of distance from the library to the park? So the same thing. We have a triangle. We have Tyler's house. So I'm going to put H for house. We have the library as L. And then we have the park. I'm going to put as P. So it tells us here from the library to his house is 3 miles. So this distance is 3. And then the next part tells us that the distance from his home to the park, so home to the park, is going to be 12 miles. And then this last distance, we don't know what it is, but that's what we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and find it. So we have to subtract the numbers. 12 minus 3 gives us 9, less than x, less than, and then we add the two numbers. 12 plus 3 is 15. All right, number 21. It tells us to list the sides of triangle MNP in order from shortest to longest if the angles of triangle MNP have the following measures. So in order for us to order from shortest to longest, we need to know the angles first. So we're going to go ahead and add up all the angles, I'm sorry. So 3, 6, and 5. Together, that's going to give us 14x. And we're going to add up all of the numbers. -4 plus 3 is -1 minus another one is going to be -2. And all three angles of a triangle will always equal 180 degrees. So we're going to start solving for x. So we add the 2 and we get 182. So 14x equals 182. And then we divide by 14. So 182 divided by 14 is 13. So x equals 13. So then we start plugging it in. So for the measure of angle M, we're going to do 3 times 13 minus 4 equals 35. So let me draw a triangle real quick. Here's my triangle. M, N, P. This is 35. And then we are going to plug in 13 for N. So 6 times 13 minus 1 gives us 77. So angle N is 77. And then last is P. So 5 times 13 plus 3 equals 68. And then we're going to order them from shortest to longest. It tells us right here. So the smallest angle is M. So that means the side across M is going to be NP. NP. And then the next number would be the 68. So cross angle P is MN. And then last we have angle N is the biggest. So then across angle N is going to be MP. All right, number 22. In triangle RST, RS is 4x minus 5. So let me draw a triangle. This is RST. And they tell us that RS is 4x minus 5. So there I'm going to write a 4x minus 5. And then the next one is 3x plus 8. So from S to T is 3x plus 8. Plus 8. And then last is R to T. RT is 5x minus 2. So then we know that the three angles these are not even angles, I'm sorry. These are sides. So the three sides are not like angles. The angles add up to 180, but the sides is a perimeter. So they have to give you a perimeter when you do this. So they give us a perimeter of 73. So we're going to add them all together. So 4x plus 5x is 9x plus another 3x is 12x plus, and then we're going to add the numbers. So -5 plus -2 is -7 plus 8 is going to be a +1. And we know this should equal 73 because that is our perimeter. So we subtract the 1 first, and we get 12x equals 72. We divide by 12, and we get x equals 6. So now that we know what x is, we can find the side. So 5 times 6 is 30, minus 2 is 28. And then 4 times 6 is 24, minus 5 is 19. And then the last one, 3 times 6 is 18, plus 8 is 26. So we're ready to order them from biggest to smallest. Or no, wait, we're going smallest to biggest, sorry. Smallest to largest. So the smallest side is going to be the 19. So directly across side RS is going to be angle T. Remember, when they give you the sides, you have to give angles. So angle T. And then the next one is the 26. So directly across side ST is angle R. And then last is angle S, which is the 28. So it says here the coordinates of the vertices of a triangle are M and P. Use the distance formula to find the indicated lengths, then determine if triangle M and P is an equilateral, isosceles, or scalene. So we're going to need the distance formula. So your distance formula is, you're going to take the square root, and inside the parentheses, you're going to subtract the x's and square it, plus you're going to subtract the y values and square it. So let's see, it would be x2 minus x1 and y2 minus y1. So we're going to do the same thing. So they want us to find the distance from M to N. So here's M, here's N. We're going to do the square root. And then we're going to put our parentheses squared plus parentheses squared. And so in our parentheses, first we're going to subtract the x values. So it'll be 8 minus 5. On the next one, it's going to be -10 minus a -5. And then we need to remember 2 negatives make a positive. You can put in your calculator the way that you see it. If you do, let me go ahead and check to see what we got in the last class. Just for time, when we plug that into our calculators, we got 5.8. So 5.8. Then we do the same thing for NP. So from N to P, we're going to do the square root. We're going to subtract our x values. So our x values are 2 minus 8. And we are going to square it, plus we're going to subtract our y values. So -9 minus a -10 and square it. So then we go ahead and plug that into our calculators. Now the minus and the negative is going to turn into a positive. So we're going to plug that into our calculators exactly the way you see it. And then for my other class, we got 6.08. So that's what I'm going to put here, 6.08. And last, they want us to find the distance between M and P. So M and P. And so we're going to take the square root, we subtract our x values and square it, plus, and then we're going to subtract our x values and square it. So here our x values are 2 minus 5. And then our y values are -9 minus a -5. Remember, the 2 negatives make a positive. So when we plug that one into our calculator, we get a 5. So if we look at all the sides are not the same. None of them are the same. So that means that here we have a scalene triangle. Scalene. All right, the last one. So it says each set of lines form a triangle in the coordinate plane. Determine which sets form right triangles. So they graph these lines on a coordinate plane. I'm going to draw a picture through here. Of course, this is not exactly what it looks like, but they draw 3 lines. And so these three lines make a triangle, and we want to know if there is a 90-degree angle somewhere on these three lines, okay? Because that's what's going to make a right triangle. So the way that we can tell is by looking at the slopes, okay? The first one is in standard form, so we're going to have to use m equals negative a over b. So in this case, our a is 3 and our b is 4. So our slope for this one is going to be negative 3 over 4. So if we look at all the slopes, this is negative 3 over 4, this is 4 over 3, and this is 1 over 8. If you notice, these two are opposite sides and the fractions are flipped. That's what tells you that you have two perpendicular lines. And remember, two perpendicular lines make a 90-degree angle. So does this form a right triangle? Yes, we do have a 90-degree angle because those two slopes are opposite reciprocals. So let's go to the next one. On this one, our slope is 5, negative 4, and 1/4. So if you notice, negative 4 is the same thing as negative 4 over 1. And these two are opposite signs. And then 1 over 4 is the same thing as 4 over 1 when you flip it. So yes, this does form a right triangle. If we look at this next one, this is 1/3, this is negative 1/3, and this is 6. So these ones are close, except they did not flip one of the fractions. So this is not a right triangle. So do the lines form a right triangle? No, they do not. And the last one. So here we have 2y. So we need to get rid of that 2 with the y real quick, and we're going to divide both sides by 2. And so this gives us, let me erase all this. This gives us y equals 7 over 2x minus 3 over 2. You have to distribute that 2 to each one. Okay, this one we have bit in slope-intercept form, and then this last one we're going to use m equals negative a, so negative 2 over b, which is 7. So if we look at all the slopes, here we have 7 halves, here we have 3 over 8, and here we have negative 2 over 7. So if you notice, these two are, one's positive, one's negative, and they're both the flip version of each other. So yes, this does form a right triangle. All right, so if you need any more help on the review, or maybe you were still confused, you can come see me in the morning during study skills. In the morning or during study skills, you guys test tomorrow. Make sure that you have the whole review complete and you turn it in tomorrow before the test. So you can take this home with you if you need to. If you didn't get a chance to finish copying it all down, go ahead and do it. We'll see you tomorrow.